There are many people who say the universe doesn't need a creator. Just making a comparison.
Listen, I don't believe in God anyway. Not Christian God, not Muslim God. I'm a non-believer, so no point talking to me about that.
But no one had to make the universe, but someone needs to make that light.
Yeah.
How does that follow?
Well, 'cause I actually make tyres as well. I got a business that manufactures.
Right.
So I make stuff as well.
But if something's such a precise engineered stuff like that,
Yeah, by clever people.
requires clever,
No gods
it
are
requires
involved.
intelligence. Intelligence.
No gods are involved.
But this requires intelligence.
Yeah.
Intelligent agents like yourself.
Yeah.
The universe is more precise than this bike.
Yeah.
How does it not need a maker?
It's just evolution, isn't it?
No, evolution is only at explaining how life arose from dead matter. We are
Yeah.
talking about the whole universe, the intricacy and the complexity and the harmony of its laws. So how do we explain the universe doesn't need a maker, but your fantastic bike needs one?
I didn't say no. It doesn't need a maker. It doesn't need an all supreme maker. It just needs someone with some common sense. Yeah, like the first man who invented the wheel. Yeah, and it just keeps progressing. People keep adding to it, keep making it a little bit more clever, a little bit. I don't believe in God at all.
What's your name?
Peter.
Peter, I'm Mansoor. Now I agree, something like this bike, fantastic bike, requires an intelligent maker.
Yeah.
At least we agree on that. The universe is more fantastic in terms of its design.
Yeah.
How do we then say it doesn't need a maker?
Oh, listen, you're wasting your time with me. I'm
No,
not a believer.
let's be consistent in terms of our logic and in
Yeah.
terms of our common sense and
Yeah.
in terms of our reasoning. If reason tells us this bike requires a maker.
Because there's lots of clever people around the world, and there has been for millions of years, thousands of years. Lots of clever people. Some simple people, and extremely clever people. And extremely clever people.
Clever or
But
intelligence is needed, right?
involved as well.
But
Even ants are clever.
But
you watch
could you-
an ant's nest and watch what they do.
Peter.
Stand back with a long distance camera. Yeah, what they try and achieve,
But Peter,
And
if
without a brain.
you look at this particular,
I understand the point. I know the
but
point.
why are we reluctant to admit or to accept that the universe, with its complexity and harmony and precision design, it should also need a maker? Why are we not?
Listen, you might be right. I'm not in the. I'm not arguing either way with it. I wouldn't have an argument either way. I'm open-minded about.
But what if I were to argue that this doesn't need a maker? You'd say,
No, I wouldn't, because I'm open-minded. If somebody proved me whichever way, I would listen. It's just I'm not.
So if I were to prove to you,
I'll tell you, look, listen, all my life I've spent working, not thinking about life and stuff like that. I just run my own business, manufacturing. I've been too busy working to worry about things like that. I'll leave that to other people.
yeah, but when we die, do we know where we go?
No.
Is there life after death?
I don't
Is
think
there
there-
heaven and hell?
I don't think there's
Is
no
there a day
life
of
after
judgment?
death. No, I don't
Is
think
there
there-
punishment and reward?
No, I don't think so.
But how do you know
I
without
don't know.
looking into it?
I don't know.
But the thing is,
So
you
is it
said that-
possible? Is it possible then
It's possible.
that if there was a life after death,
Yeah.
if there was a reward and punishment,
Yeah.
do you know where you're going to go up? What's the likelihood of you going?
Oh, listen, you know more than me. You're
That is
already-
why.
yeah.
That is why. If you want to have success in this life and the hereafter, we should be concentrated on the hereafter too.
You should be, but I don't know enough
You too,
about
Peter.
it. Yeah.
I can tell you about it. I can tell you that we are a creation of a creator.
Yeah.
He has the most beautiful of names. Like
Yeah.
he's the most gracious, the most merciful, the most kind, the most loving one, the creator. That is God of our universe. And he created us so that we can be grateful to him. So that we can be ready to make step for the next life, which is the eternal abode in which there is no death. Death is only on this life, but over there, either you live in a place of success all your life, eternally with no death, place of reward and place of tranquility and bliss and joy, or there's a place of torment and punishment and suffering and pain. So we don't want to end up in suffering and pain eternally. I mean, how much pain can you endure? in this life.
Yeah.
There's a threshold. We can't take more than that. But here in hell,
Yeah.
which is made for an arrogant, stubborn disbelievers who, when evidence is given to them, they don't accept. So
No.
not for everyone, but for only a specific category of people.
I'm not-
We don't want to be that category
No,
of people, do we?
I'm open. But at the minute,
Yeah.
no one's proved to me.
So what proof do you think would convince you that there is a creator?
I'd need to see evidence.
Like what?
I don't know. I don't know.
You need to
what
have some
it was.
ideas.
I'd need to. I've been around for a few years. I've lived life longer than you.
I'm sure you have.
No, I'm older.
And more experience too, and more knowledgeable perhaps.
And at the moment,
Yeah.
I haven't seen any sign of a God.
What signs were you looking for? Maybe you're not looking for the right signs.
Listen, too many things to tell you right here and now,
Yeah.
but a few things happen to you over a course of a lifetime that's proved to me at the minute there is no God. But
Do you think-
I don't know if I'm wrong. It could be wrong. But
By the way, I'm a Muslim,
Yeah.
and I believe that our Creator sent something called the Quran, a scripture, a guidance.
yeah, I've got a copy of the
Why
Quran.
don't you look into what the Quran says about you?
I'm more.
And
I
me.
Bought a Quran.
Yeah.
Listen,
Read and reflect on
No,
it.
I bought a Quran because I'm more.
Are you
I'm
reading
more-
it?
I don't read it. I'll tell you what I did once. Right, I read a program. Right, you won't believe this, but it's true. I was listening to some Muslim man talking in a documentary.
Yeah.
Right, and he said Jesus is in the Quran. Right, and I just remembered it, and I went to Jerusalem. Right. Nothing to do with religion, just on like history, like looking. I like history. And this bloke gave me a copy of the Quran while I was walking through the street. You know where you do that walk where Jesus walks?
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called, you know, right? And there's lots of Muslim men there, and they give out the Quran books and things like that, yeah? And they give me a book, and I fucking, you ain't gonna believe this, but I'm telling you, it's gospel truth. I picked up the Quran, yeah, and I was gonna see in the Quran where it said Jesus
And
Christ.
you open up the page, which
Yeah.
had
Fucking Jesus Christ written on it. Right?
Maybe that's a sign from you.
No, listen, it was I swear to you, the first word I read, and I ain't religious and I don't believe in it, but that was spooky, right? That scared me. I just, honestly, the first two words I read.
could that be a sign to
Listen,
you?
that's the sign.
Do you know what? When you go home, do this one thing, yeah? Ask God to sincerely guide you and open the Quran at a random page.
Yeah.
And a random word, and
Yeah.
just take a look at it.
Well, that's what happened to me before. My wife's like, you know,
Keep on
I'd like to
keep on
and talk
reading
to you.
and reflecting, and,
Right, cheers.
and you know, may God guide us all.
Cheers. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Thanks, Peter. See you later.
There's too many Christians. It's good to speak to like atheists.